City of Stevens Point Common Council meeting, recorded December 15, 2025.
We'll call the regular Common Council meeting to order. Could we get a roll call, please?
Christensen.
Here.
Guthrie.
Present.
Keemer.
Here.
Broderick.
Here.
Burr.
Here.
Steinmetz.
Here.
Kneebone.
Here.
Shuda.
Here.
Lane.
Here.
Uzi.
Here.
And Morrow.
Here. And everyone's present. Please join me for our salute to the flag. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Thank you all again for joining us. I'm Alder Steinmetz. I'm going to ask, because I can't always keep an eye on the screen, if you see someone pop in or raise their hand, can you please let me know?
Yeah.
What do we have here? Don't want that. Andrea Olson, item number 17. Let me make a note of that. All right, a couple of things we should know tonight. The proposed grant of $150,000 to Partnering Together for a proposed warming center has been postponed. We talked to all the primaries, and we are going to be getting back together at the table, get back on the same page, and take it from there. So there will be no discussion on the proposed grant or warming center location this evening. And items number 9 and 10, which are both proposed ordinances for the Stevens Point City Parks, those are going to both be postponed as well. There were some legal issues that we needed to work through, and so those will be coming back probably in January. Also, item number 16, the agenda inadvertently said ordinance amendment. We are not amending the ordinance for that one. That is just a resolution. And that resolution was passed earlier with a positive recommendation from the Plan Commission earlier this evening. So with that, I try and keep my remarks short. Happy holidays. Whatever the holiday is that you celebrate, I hope that it is the best one to date. Let's try and be a little nicer to each other in 2026. And be a little more compassionate and caring, and maybe try and see things from other people's perspectives. We do have a few retirements in the city. As usual, the beginning of the new year usually follows several retirements. This is true in the private sector as well as the public sector. After the first of the year, and I hope I'm going to get them all, Jimena Christensen, our building inspector, will be retiring. Chief Bob Cuso, our police chief, will be retiring. Mike Rotier, our assistant police chief, will be retiring. Mike Radsick, our community resource officer, will be retiring. And Joe Gemza, our assistant fire chief of EMS, will be retiring. Those are the only ones I know about so far. Did any sneak in under the door today? Okay, all right. We thank them all very much for their dedicated service. Decades of experience that will be leaving the position, but not necessarily leaving the community. We've frequently called on expertise of retirees, maybe force them to serve on some committees. So we'll be able to rope them back in, hopefully. If not, there'll be a phone resource, I assure you. So congratulations to all of them. And with that, we'll move on. So item number 3 is persons who wish to address the mayor and council on a specific agenda item other than a public hearing must register their request at this time. Those who wish to address the common council during a public hearing are not required to identify themselves until the public hearing is declared open by me. We do not have any public hearings on the agenda tonight. Is there anybody who wishes to speak on any agenda item that we will be talking about? What? Oh, Andrea Olson, 17. I already got that one. Thank you.
Here, 3. Outside of 3.
Oh, I can't see that.
What? Oh, 3, 6, and 17.
Oh! Jesus. So you mean 4, Andrea. Andrea 6. Andrea. Sorry, there was something on the computer that didn't let me see that until I moved it. Mary would like to speak about the land map change. That's item number 16. Okay. Anyone else online wishing to speak? We are pretty lenient with people wishing to speak, so we ask you to sign up just so we have an idea. We've got a lot of speakers tonight, so I'm going to ask that you, again, keep your comments germane to the topic. And I'm going to probably call you out on it if you're not. And then try and keep them to about 3 minutes. I know we've heard this, many of these comments before, so be respectful of everybody's time. And thank you, Bethany, for putting that on paper for me with Ms. Olson. So be respectful of everybody's time, and most of all, be respectful to the speakers. All right, moving on. Item number 4 is persons who wish to address the mayor and council for up to 3 minutes on a non-agenda item. Andrea Olson.
Hi, Andrea Olson, 410 Franklin Street, Stevens Point. I wanted to talk briefly about the 365 shelter. I think that it's a great idea. However, like many other projects, like the recently approved Shopco one and City Hall, this was rushed, and now we're already seeing the effects of it. There was lots of miscommunication, it seems like, and lots of upset people in the community. And a lot of this could have been avoided by having community outreach prior to, right before a meeting or right after a meeting. A business plan, just for grants in general, a business plan or an operational plan really should be required prior to giving tax dollars to a group. Also, I think that this was being rushed just to try to appease the downtown business owners because, yes, we as business owners downtown have been dealing with a lot, but this really needed to be thought out better. We do need a 365 shelter, but more planning needed to occur in the first place. With people concerned about the location of the 365 shelter, I think that it's a good location. I understand concerns about the demographics of the people that might be there. However, if you look within a mile, there are 28 registered sexual offenders, and that's just the people that are registered. If you look from my house, which is a mile from downtown, there are only 25, and that mile covers the downtown area also. Within a mile, too, of the 365 shelter, you also have the Portage House and other facilities that are either transitional sober places or they are ones where our juveniles go and other things. So there are a lot of other things that are going on within the vicinity of the proposed location. So thinking the worst about people that might be utilizing the shelter isn't always the best thing to do when many of the same population might already be living within your community. You just don't realize it. So I hope that this makes some good progress in the future. And thank you.
Thank you, Andrea. Sherry? And Andrea, I think you meant Monroe House. Portage House is near the Lincoln Center, which is actually closer to the current shelter than
It's still within a mile.
Monroe House.
Portage House.
Okay.
A mile is actually a long ways. You don't realize it.
I bet it is. Thank you very much.
Hello, I'm Sherry Huckert, 3050 Lindbergh Avenue. I share a lot of Andrea's sentiments that this was rushed. A lot of information was not shared. There's a lot of information that came through that a lot of people were not aware of. I'm focused less on the location arguments than I am the business model, the staffing. Their location is definitely a concern. One of it being the location that has been chosen on Church Street is a small building that needs to be renovated. It is away from the day services. This whole thing was sold as a 365, 24/7 shelter. That is not what is happening. And we're actually moving that shelter farther away from the services, making it much more difficult for the participants to be there. Well, we have a lot of great resources, and a lot of those were discussed and marketed for this 365 shelter. We've had those services in place for years. The same people are not utilizing those services. So putting them in a location doesn't necessarily change the outcomes. I agree that this was done most likely to quiet the downtown neighborhood, but this solution does not fix the issues at hand. If there's going to be a 365, 24/7 shelter, which I fully support and I agree that we need, the building itself needs to be big enough to house this, as well as allow for growth. The homeless issue is not getting smaller, it's getting larger. So purchasing a building at $150,000, which does not meet the needs, is not a wise investment for the city, nor for the group running it. I have concerns regarding staffing qualifications. What training do they have to work with this population? What skills do they have when they're interacting with these people? We need to be able to see the business model. How are they going to fund this? How are they going to operate it? What is their training? What is their experience? That information needs to be known to the public. In addition to our safety, the safety of the participants and the safety of the staff. There's been numerous concerns addressed regarding safety, both for the location as well as for the staffing that needs to be looked at. With any other business, a business model has to be presented that shows funding, that shows how things are going to run. There's concerns over the funding of the building. There's concerns over if you can't run this facility till 8 a.m. from November to April, till 8 a.m. from November to April, which is what the city requested. How are you going to pay staff to run this 365? This model runs a lot on volunteer participation.
Thank you,
What
Sherry.
happens when you have volunteer burnout? Thank you.
And this will very likely be coming back at some point, giving everybody an opportunity to chime in at some point in the future. That is it for item number 4. Did I miss anybody, did I? Okay. Item number 5 is the consent agenda, which, as I should say, it does not include any action on that $150,000 grant for partnering together. As I said, that will be discussed at a later date. Consent agenda is before you.
I would move approval of the consent agenda.
Thank you.
I second.
We'll give the second tomorrow. Discussion there? Any comments from the audience? Hearing and seeing none, clerk, please call that roll.
Morrow.
Aye.
Boozy.
Aye.
Lang.
Aye.
Shuda.
Aye.
Kneebone.
Aye.
Steinmetz.
Aye.
Burr.
Aye.
Broderick.
Aye.
Keemer.
Aye.
Guthrie.
Aye.
And Christensen.
Aye.
And that is approved. Item number 6 is the adoption of the Housing Affordability Report for permit year 2024. Andrea Olson, you wish to speak?
Yes, Andrea Olson, 410 Franklin Street, Stevens Point. I have concerns about how this is actually written up by staff. It seems a bit condescending saying that, or how it is just written out, like we're required to do this, really isn't going to do anything, We blame external factors for why we can't be bringing down the cost. That's not, like, what if we want to get a grant from the state and they review that? That doesn't look good on our community. Also, the timing of this report, I'm wondering why this report is being released at the end of 2025. Plover released this report back in January for their 2024. I think it was January 26th. We're releasing it 11 months later. I would assume that we would have liked to have this information and data this entire year to help with other planning. And it could have possibly made an impact on some of our other housing decisions. Lastly, I do think that we need to remember and put ensure that we are prioritizing putting our permitting process online, because that is one way that Plover reduced their expenses. It will also make everything more efficient for staff. Up front, it'll take some learning, but will improve bringing down the costs of housing for our community and just commercial buildings too. That's it. Thank you.
Thank you. The Housing Affordability Report, I think you were all here when Director Kivila and Zoning Administrator Kuhn talked about the process. What are your wishes? Alder Nebone.
I will move approval of the housing, or
Adopting.
move the adoption of the 2025 Housing Affordability Report.
Thank you. Seconded by Shuda. Discussion? Yes.
May I make a friendly amendment? That's actually the 2024 report.
Oh, yes.
Fine.
Catch that.
I was trying to
Thank you.
find that on the front.
This is for the 2024.
This is, report year 2025, permit year 2024,
Right.
so.
Okay, any other comments? Okay, hearing none, clerk, please call the roll.
Christensen.
Aye.
Guthrie.
Aye.
Kamer.
Aye.
Broderick.
Aye.
Burr.
Aye.
Steinmetz.
Aye.
Nebone.
Aye.
Shuda.
Aye.
Lang.
Aye.
Boozy.
Aye.
And Morrow.
Aye.
And that is approved. Item number 7 is a property use and maintenance agreement with the Stevens Point Business Park Business Improvement District and the City of Stevens Point for the Business Parks Common Areas. We talked about this earlier, 2 weeks ago, and it's before you now for approval.
I move approval.
Thank you.
I'll second.
I'm sorry, Broderick seconds. Discussion? Hearing and seeing none, clerk, please call that roll.
Morrow.
Aye.
Boozy.
Aye.
Lang.
Aye.
Shuda.
Aye.
Nebone.
Aye.
Steinmetz.
Aye.
Burr.
Aye.
Broderick.
Aye.
Keemer.
Aye.
Guthrie.
Aye.
And Christensen.
Aye.
And that is approved. Item number 8 is a request to accept transfer of ownership from the Stevens Point Business Improvement District and place that resolution on file.
I move approval.
Thank you.
Second.
Seconded by Burr. Discussion there? Comments? Seeing and hearing none, clerk, please call that roll.
Christensen.
Aye.
Guthrie.
Aye.
Keemer.
Aye.
Broderick.
Aye.
Burr.
Aye.
Steinmetz.
Aye.
Nebone.
Aye.
Shuda.
Aye.
Lang.
Aye.
Boozy.
Aye.
And Morrow.
Aye.
And that is approved. As I mentioned, items 9 and 10 are postponed. We'll bring those back at a later date after the attorney has sorted out whatever it is he needs to deal with. Item number 11 is an ordinance amendment to approve the amendments of Chapter 9.06 for stop signs at Oak Avenue at the intersection of Heffron.
Move to approve.
Motion by Burr,
Second.
seconded by Morrow. Discussion there? Comments?
Already talked about this.
And this came as a resident request, too.
Yeah.
All right, seeing and hearing none, clerk, please call that roll.
Morrow.
Aye.
Boozy.
Aye.
Lang.
Aye.
Shuda.
Aye.
Nebone.
Aye.
Steinmetz.
Aye.
Burr.
Aye.
Broderick.
Aye.
Keemer.
Aye.
Guthrie.
Aye.
And Christensen.
Aye.
And that is approved. Item number 12 is a resolution, combination of 2 or more wards for voting purposes to facilitate the use of common polling places. We had talked about this before as well.
Yeah.
Clerk, do you have anything to add?
This was just a correction under Supervisory District 2. There was a Ward 25 was listed, and it should have been 35. So we're just correcting that. There's no other changes.
Okay,
I move approval.
thank you. Moved by Lang,
Second.
seconded by Steinmetz. Discussion? Comments from anyone? No. Clerk, please call that roll.
Christensen.
Aye.
Guthrie.
Aye.
Keemer.
Aye.
Broderick.
Aye.
Burr.
Aye.
Steinmetz.
Aye.
Nebone.
Aye.
Shuda.
Aye.
Lang.
Aye.
Boozy.
Aye.
And Morrow.
Aye.
And that is approved. Item number 13 is a resolution establishing alternate in-person absentee voting location for spring of 2026. Clerk, anything to add there?
No, this is an annual. We're just setting up the dates for our in-person voting.
Okay.
I'll move approval. Second.
Yep, moved by Keemer, seconded by Burr. Discussion there?
The city has done this in the past. It's very efficient, and if you could get in and out really fast, the staff is very helpful as well. If you're worried about standing in long lines, there aren't. So that's nice.
Thank you. Any other comments? Seeing and hearing none, clerk, please call that roll.
Morrow.
Aye.
Boozy.
Aye. Slackened.
Lang.
Aye.
Shuda.
Aye.
Kneebone.
Aye.
Steinmetz.
Aye.
Burr.
Aye.
Broderick.
Aye.
Keemer.
Aye.
Guthrie.
Aye.
And Christensen.
Aye.
And that is approved. Item number 14 is a resolution directing a spring primary election 2026. Clerk?
So when we have more than 2 people running for the same aldermanic office, so it's not fair necessarily for someone to win with less than 50% of the votes. So this is just directing a primary if we have more than 2.
Okay, in any district.
Well, this year is the even years that are up for election.
Right,
So,
in any district that has an election.
yep.
What are your wishes? We've done it both ways, both having a primary and not having a primary.
That has been the procedure primarily in the past, so I would move that we direct to have a spring primary election if more than 2 candidates filed for the same aldermanic district.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Morrow. Discussion there.
This has happened every year, and this has been an ongoing thing. It's used in more than one, if any areas have more than 2. So
Yeah. And I kind of prefer that because we, like I said, we've done it both ways over the years. And if you have 3, potentially someone could win the seat without 50% or more of the voting members agreeing to it. So I think this is prudent. Okay, if you're in favor, vote yes. Opposed, no, and the clerk will call that roll.
Christensen.
Aye.
Guthrie.
Aye.
Keemer.
Aye.
Broderick.
Aye.
Burr.
Aye.
Steinmetz.
Aye.
Kneebone.
Aye.
Shuda.
Aye.
Lang.
Aye.
Boozy.
Aye.
And Morrow.
Aye.
And that is approved. Item number 15 is a resolution authorizing submission of the Vibrant Spaces grant application.
I'll move approval.
Okay,
All second.
seconded by Christensen. Discussion? Fingers crossed. Pray, sacrifice, whatever you got to do. Send good thoughts that the bid district would be granted this. It'd be some nice things.
I also wanted to add that this was talked about last week during the committee meetings. I know we have a lot of folks here that may not have been here and thinking we're just kind of going along, but this has been talked about.
Absolutely. Everything on our agenda has been talked about. Council is the final word on all of this. For those who may not know, the Vibrant Spaces grant application is being submitted. It's one of the many grants that are available. In this case, it would make some improvements aesthetically, primarily downtown. I know we're looking at speakers and some additional lighting and some potential murals, so it really helps to be able to get these grants to do those things. Great. The clerk will call the roll.
Morrow.
Aye.
Boozy.
Aye.
Lang.
Aye.
Shuda.
Aye.
Kneebone.
Aye.
Steinmetz.
Aye.
Burr.
Aye.
Broderick.
Aye.
Keemer.
Aye.
Guthrie.
Aye.
And Christensen.
Aye.
And that is approved. Item number 16 is a resolution. Request from Portage County to amend the Stevens Point Comprehensive Plan. Said request amends the future land use designation of the property located at 825 Whiting Avenue from institutional government to commercial office multifamily. I know there were a few alderpersons that weren't here earlier. We had a special plan commission. It was determined through legal advice that a recommendation from the plan commission is required. Because it was a tie vote 2 weeks ago, there wasn't a recommendation for or against. And therefore, it was determined that we needed to do that. We asked the applicant, which is Portage County, if they wanted to do that at a special meeting or if they could wait till January. They asked for the special meeting. We had that tonight at 5 o'clock. Many people testified. The result was an affirmative vote to change the future land use map of the comprehensive plan with 1 dissenting vote. Anybody have any questions on what happened at the Plan Commission earlier? Okay, if not, we have several people wishing to speak. We'll start out with Mary online. And again, I'm going to ask that there's a lot of people, there's a whole stack of papers here. Try and keep your comments germane to the item, because we have 3 different items, and try and be considerate of everybody else's time. Thank you, Mary. Go ahead.
Mary McComb, 2100 Elk Street in Stevens Point, and I am speaking about I'm asking the council to not amend the land use map. The healthcare center occupies land that is deemed as governmental/institutional in the future land use map. And this typically is applied to non-property tax-paying entities such as governmental facilities, hospitals, religious properties, and the like. In August, city staff argued how important it was to honor the land use map in zoning decisions. And in short, they said that tinkering with land use recommendations leaves us on shaky ground when it comes to making wise decisions. And yes, my pun was intended. Now, the city proposes to trash existing land use. Well, the Planning Commission agreed to trash existing land use designation for the advantage of a private real estate developer. This land has been public land for decades. Only 16% of city land is in this category. Turning it over to a private developer betrays the many residents who want it and the Portage County Healthcare Center to remain under public oversight. By the way, the privately owned nursing home by Century, Harmony Village, is on land labeled commercial. You might ask then, why is the Spirus on institutional governmental land? The Spirus is private, but it is a nonprofit organization, and its mission is to serve the public. Unlike the Ensign facility, which wants to profit from the public. I'm curious how the city could insist that preserving the land use was so urgent in August, and now has changed its mind and thinks it's fine to just change the land use. I don't think you can have it both ways. I'm asking the Common Council to honor and preserve the current land use designation of institutional/governmental for the Portage County healthcare property for the good of us all. Thank you.
Thank you. Mr. Bushman, you have your item listed as the Portage County home. There are 3 items related to that tonight. Do you want to speak on any one in particular, or all of them?
I will defer my comments till later, Mike, if possible.
Absolutely. We had Mary on item number 16. Ray Cal.
Hi, thank you. I'll kind of keep my comments short. The Portage County home has been put before referendum to the community several times. The community has expressed its support to maintain the Portage County home as a publicly run facility. The voters even approved in the most recent referendum that was taken to increase their taxes in order to pay for the home. So it's pretty apparent to me that if we want to protect our democracy here at the local level, where, I mean, this is about as local as it can get. People, you walk here, you can see here, you can speak. This is democracy at work. And to amend the comprehensive plan solely to facilitate the sale of the home to a private entity whose CEO made 11 million bucks last year is not in the interest of what the people of Stevens Point have clearly expressed. And I think as you make your decision tonight, you should consider, why didn't the Portage County Board have the guts to put this back to the residents of Portage County? They didn't because they knew what they wanted to do, and they knew that what they wanted to do would never get the support of the Portage County residents. So the idea on their part is, no, we've been elected, we've done the research, we're going to do what we're going to do, and to hell with the Portage County voters who've consistently expressed unquestionably their support for maintaining the home. So I speak today asking you to honor our democracy by turning this request to amend the comprehensive plan down.
Thank you, Ray. Mike Splinter. And Mike, yours wasn't very clear either. 16, 17, and 18, any one of them or all of them?
All of them.
All of them. Oh, I had it down there.
Mike Splinter, 1475 Torn Road, Town of Hull. I'm also the County Board Supervisor for District 12, Wards 4, 5, 6, and 7. The rhetoric on these issues seems to stray from what a normal zoning consideration would be. And I'm going to give you just my perspective of being on the Planning and Zoning Committee for several years.
So, Mike, just to be clear, we're talking about future land use. Zoning is the next item.
I want to talk about them all. This just covers all three of them.
Okay, that'll be fine then.
If that's okay.
All
Sorry.
three, and then
Okay.
put you on the side there.
Okay, you are here tonight to vote on 3 zoning changes proposed by Portage County after consulting with the city's planning and zoning department, your experts, that your experts have recommended after vetting and investigation done on their end as far as the zoning. The merits of the zoning changes should be voted on like any other zoning change that comes to the council with the full support of your planning and zoning department. I can see a no vote if there was something that your own planning and zoning department overlooked on the merits of the change. A no vote in this case should not be made based on a county referendum 3 years ago, unless your only purpose is to be a willing participant in tossing a monkey wrench into the business dealings of the county. The county does not do that to the city business, so why is it a factor here? I was on the county's Planning and Zoning Committee, and we reviewed hundreds of zoning requests, and not once did we not approve a change that was vetted and approved by our own experts in the planning and zoning department. I would guess that no other zoning change that was ever brought before this council was ever denied based on a public vote on an entirely different issue that occurred 3 years ago, which would be totally illogical. I sure hope logical heads will prevail tonight. And as a side, I keep hearing the referendum of 3 years ago. And I agree that it was passed 60% to 40%. Totally agree with it. Does that mean the 40% that voted no all of a sudden, oh, now we want it. That's not the case. 6,600 people voted no. That's enough to fill the entire stadium next door, the football stadium, both sides and standing room only. So please take that in a little bit of perspective into account, that not everybody is on board. It passed in a democratic fashion, but that's like saying, well, Trump won by 1.5%, so we're all mega fans in this room. I don't think so. So anyway, I just hope that you guys can keep on the subject, keep focused that it's a zoning issue. And Mike, you made a statement before. I watched it online, and you kind of stole my thunder on it, but you were very succinct about that. Thank you.
Thank you. Before we go any further, I need to consult with council. We know this is a passionate issue. Most of us understand the nuances of the next 3 items. Robert's rules would say that we speak only to those items and keep the comments germane to that, which is what I had asked for. But I would ask for a little bit of levity in this. Levity, is that the right word? If there's no objection from the council, I would allow all of, because most of them signed up for all 3 because they find them related. I would ask for the council to suspend those rules and allow people to speak on all 3 of those items once, with, of course, offering a little more latitude with that 3 minutes perhaps. Or if you choose to keep the rules, we would require each of the speakers to speak only on the item that's being considered at the time. What are your wishes?
I think you're right, because it's all going to bleed into the same thing, and I think everybody wants to have their piece, and it's all going to flow through the same, and it's going to flow through anyway when they're up here. And I think that would be I think it would let people get out what they want to say.
Then let me ask this: is there any objection from anyone on council to allowing people to speak on any of the next 3 items, allowing a little more latitude with the time if necessary? Seeing no objection, I'm going to go back, and we're going to go with the 2 people that have already spoken to allow you some more time, well, not spoken, but that were called upon, to allow some more time to cover items 16 and 17. We will allow everybody to speak on 16, 17, or 18. I've got the list here. Almost everybody signed up for all 3, so we will allow you to speak on any of the topics at hand, and if it goes over 3 minutes, we'll be okay with that too. Try and keep your comments as succinct as possible. Bill, do you want to speak on any of these now?
I can.
Please do. Thank you. And then thank you, council, for allowing that, because I know how this is. It's most people wouldn't understand the nuances between the different items. They're all related to the same thing.
Kissing cousins, right? Bill Bushman, resident on 55 Elmwood, 5516 Elmwood in Stevens Point. I was going to wait till the end, thinking I might be the only person in favor of accomplishing what we're trying to do, hope to do with the council, and that is approve the rezoning, conditional use, etc., changing the comprehensive plan. I kind of agree with the gentleman that was up here prior. I know there was a referendum that was passed. I will tell you I did not vote for it, but I think you'll gather that from my comments. And when I spoke in front of the county, it must have been a couple of years ago, I don't recall exactly when, but my comments back then were, we can't put our emotions in front of the fiscal responsibility to the taxpayer. And I still stand behind that. Back then I think times were a little different even with the home. I think they were coming off several years of not providing any type of income. The county was subsidizing. The taxpayer was subsidizing. I understand, at least what I'm hearing is that has changed. But I'm going to put my faith in the 10-page document that the Planning Commission had. I saw no reason on that 10-page document that says we should not look at the rezoning and move forward with the other two items on the agenda. So I'm going to stand by that. From my opinion, I think that makes the most sense for the taxpayer. And I say I apologize. I expect or respect, I guess, the decisions of those who don't agree with me. But I'm looking at this from a purely financial standpoint. I think we have a chance to move forward with a change of ownership and still keep it a viable living facility for those who need it. So I'm going to end with that. Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Ray, did you want to come back and speak on any of the other items? This is your shot. We're doing 16, 17, and 18 all at once. All right. Thank you, Ray. Next, Alan Buchanan.
Yes, they're all together as far as I'm concerned.
And I don't disagree with you, but legally they're separate issues. So we're good.
Right, 17 and 18 on that too.
All of them, yep.
Okay. My name is Alan Buchanan. I'm at 1208 Black Bear Trail, and I thank you guys for your time. I know how much effort it takes. I'm in my fourth quarter, over 77 years old, older than dirt, and I'm personally, because I'm old, you know, strokes, heart attack, falling down, long term, I may need care, and I think the present set up with the nursing home, they're doing an excellent job. They're a 5-star, and I worry that when I go in that, a 1-star is not going to change, and it may still be a 1-star, and I'm not happy with that reduction in care, which I suspect is going to happen. Okay. I'm also a voter, of course, and regardless what, the comment was about, what are we going to do with the 40%? The 40% that lost is irrelevant. I mean, in all bills, all votes, the winners make the rules. In most cases, it's probably not going to happen here. But anyway, I don't like the fact that the county board, et cetera, is ignoring the constituents. And so, but anyway, I understand you guys' role here. I was a public employee in Missouri for 25 years, and one of our primary jobs was to serve the public. And that's what your job is, just like mine was. And so anyway, the question is, do you honor the interests of the constituents, or you just go the other way? But anyway, I tried to get it under 3 minutes, Mr. Mayor.
You did very well.
Take care.
Thank you. Alex, come on up.
Thanks, sir.
Hello, Alexander McCumber, 2633 Heffron Street, Stevens Point, Wisconsin. I'm going to keep this really short and simple. I oppose a change to the comprehensive plan. I believe that the burden of proof necessary to prove that this is in the public interest has not been met in this instance, and that a change to the comprehensive plan in this way and any zoning changes to this parcel would be detrimental to the area as well as the residents who live there. That is my stance. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much. Mary Ann?
Mary Ann Leszewski, 1209 Wisconsin Street, Stevens Point. And I ask your indulgence as I repeat some statements that I gave at the Plan Commission earlier this evening on the same topic regarding the comprehensive plan changes. For years, I've just driven by the county home. I've stopped to visit a few people from time to time, but only until last week did I actually stop, park, and walk the grounds. And I was just in awe at those pine trees. I've never noticed them before. They're just huge and they're beautiful, and I must have counted 50 of them from the front to the back of the property. And they obviously were planted with a lot of planning in mind by somebody long before our time, but he planted them knowing he wouldn't see them mature, but that he would plant them for us, our generation, to enjoy. So I cannot say enough about the beauty of the place. The building itself actually is also positioned far back from Water Street to create a large, quiet, park-like setting. If there was a commercial multifamily site here, we would have half of these trees needing to be removed in order to make space and allow for enough setbacks for buildings. Office buildings, which are quieter, would not be considered because we have a plethora of vacant office property already available in Stevens Point and Plover, and so many more people are working from home nowadays. If there's commercial businesses considered, they often stay open till 9 p.m., and tenants and their guests will be heard by the north and east wing residents. If you have a window open on the east wing, it wouldn't take much for those sounds to travel into the county home. As far as proposed apartments, apartment tenants and their guests will easily find the adjacent grounds on the property for their own personal park and playground, both by day and by night, whether to play ball or have a picnic or take a nap. But the area also does not have a curfew and does not function as an official park. Night use of the grounds will generate police calls, as has happened at the Convent Grove Apartments at night. Commercial developments will be a death knell and look and act like they don't belong on the yard of this home. Forcing this new commercial identity on the property is only for someone's personal gain. Standard of review number 3 states there is not to be an adverse impact on the adjacent land. The area would change from an almost natural preserve to a commercial residential area with its noise and light pollution, and will reduce security for the county home residents if people are out and about and walk into the grounds and past their windows. This is a sacred space meant by our forefathers to remain as it was originally planned for, to be a skilled, peaceful home for those who need it at any age. I trust you all ran for office to support our residents, not to just help a California investor maximize a return on his investment. Our county home has approved, as was mentioned earlier, our county home recently has significantly improved government subsidies and financial reserves in place to make repairs and to run for several more years in the black. Let's wait and see if the government continues to improve support before we rush this sale and comprehensive plan change and then live to regret a decision after 100 years of history that we can never undo. Please honor our land use plans and preserve it as the institutional and government use that it was intended for. Thank you.
Thank you, Mary Ann. Jen Burton.
Jenny Burton, 5718 Sandpiper Drive. I am against the proposed amendment to change the future land use of 825 Whiting Avenue from institutional government to commercial office multifamily. Currently, the current land use prohibits a for-profit group to manage the Portage County Health Care Center, thus the request to have this property go for for-profit management. Statistics show that for-profit management of a nursing home causes a decrease in the quality of care. In an article written by Addie Costello for Wisconsin Watch and WPR on December 10th, 2024, stated that county-owned nursing homes tend to be better staffed, have higher quality of care, and draw fewer complaints than facilities owned by for-profits. Let's also look at a actual thing that happened with this company that the Portage County Board is entertaining to sell it to. Let's look at what happened in Merrill after the Ensign Group bought the Pinecrest Nursing Home. Within a month of buying the home, Ensign fired staff to increase profits. An article in the Wausau Pilot on August 8th, 2025 states that, quote, at least 15 positions at Pinecrest have been eliminated Additionally, some employees had their pay cut and others lost hours. This means that the staff to resident ratio has gone up. More people, fewer staff. Residents get less care. It's no wonder that the Ensign Group ratings of their nursing homes nationally is between 3 to 3.5 stars. This happened in Lincoln County. We don't want this to happen again in Portage County. You are in a position to make this not occur. What's now a 5-star care facility could take a nosedive. If this sale goes through, it would signal a change from looking out for citizens who need care to lining the pockets of a few investors. I'm also against changing the zoning for the property from single-family residential to R4. Even though the buyer may not have other plans right now, the R4 zoning would allow them to fill the land surrounding the healthcare center with duplexes or apartment complexes. Good way to raise rent, good way to bring money into their pockets. It would bring money. It's a business deal. Or the buyer could sell to another entity that could do any of these high-density projects. Here are 2 reasons why this is a bad decision for the use of this property. 1, changing to R4 zoning doesn't work in this neighborhood. As Mary Ann just said, it's a quiet residential area, highly wooded. There are other neighborhoods in Stevens Point that would be fitting for high-density projects, as the one that over on HH that had happened earlier this year. 2, let's look at the ramifications if the Ensign Group sells it to someone else. According to an Indiana University study, it showed that each time a nursing home changed owners, get this, the rating changed, it dropped 0.29 points every time you sell it. It goes down. Quote, when a nursing home is sold, it typically brings in changes in leadership, strategy, and staffing priorities. These disruptions cost lives, not just a decline in service. Common Council, your decision here is clear. You can deny this amendment and keep the R2 zoning to maintain the peaceful neighborhood and to keep the focus on maintaining a 5-star care facility for our residents. Thank you.
Thank you. Eric Olson.
To the council, thank you for your time. My name is Eric Olson. I live at 2025 West River Drive in the city of Stevens Point. Before you is a proposal to change the land use map and to change zoning. Why do we have zoning? What is the point of zoning? We've had zoning in this city since 1936. Few people acknowledge that zoning is actually for the protection of property owners. And in the city of Stevens Point, the majority of property owners are homeowners. We accept a zoning ordinance to protect our property values. It gives us assurances that things aren't going to change dramatically in the future. So zoning is serious business, and it's basically an insurance policy on your property values. We've amended that zoning. Sure, we've had complete rewrites as recently as 1979, but it really doesn't change that much. The idea is to provide, again, a sense of certainty. Zoning also basically tells you that there are certain things you can't do with your land. It's your land, you own it, but you can't do these things. That's an ordinance. You're all the elected body that oversees this ordinance, and you're accountable to the voters. We give you this power to constrain what we can do with our land. Zoning has also had a problem, though, in that for a long time, for decades in the city of Stevens Point, it was self-referential. Why can I do this on my land, but across the street somebody can do something else? Well, because that's what the zoning ordinance says. In the planning community, people pointed this out. There's a problem with zoning that doesn't have something to point to as an explanation why things are zoned a certain way. So starting in the late 1990s, the city was required to enact a comprehensive plan that the zoning would follow and implement. That means anytime someone does come forward with something dramatic as far as a change in how a piece of land is going to be used, they have to come and make sure that the the zoning allows it, but also make sure that the planning is consistent. So you're being asked to amend the plan from something that it's actually been for 94 years. For 94 years, since before the city's first zoning code, this has been a publicly owned nursing home. Why does that matter? Because as something owned by the public, we have held it to higher standards. Yes, it might be more cost effective if we did cut down some of these trees. An insurance company might say, these trees are a hazard. They could potentially blow down onto your building, eliminate them. We've said, no, we like these trees. We think they provide an amenity, and we're willing to take that risk as the public. The neighbors around this building have had assurance that as a public institution, we will hold it to higher standards. Not necessarily in terms of the internal operations, the business side of this, just in terms of the outward appearance of the building itself and the landscaping. Those are our standards as the public. Once we sell this, we lose those standards. This isn't just a routine change. This is something dramatic that hasn't happened in 94 years, charting a different course for the Portage County Healthcare Center. And this is up to you, the city. We rely upon the city council to take care of our ordinances and to watch over our comprehensive plan. I believe that we need to point out that in the plan it says, the applicant proposing an amendment to the future land use map shall have the burden of proof to show that the proposed amendment is in the public interest. In the public interest. You've heard a couple of people already comment on this, and I'm commenting on it as well. This is not in the public interest. This is not in the public interest, and certainly not in the interest of the city of Stevens Point, the public that you serve. So I recommend no on both the plan amendment and the zoning amendment. Thank you for your time.
Thank you. Nancy Roppy.
Nancy Roppy, 39 Angelo Court. I prepared for 3 minutes for each of these, so I appreciate the latitude. It's my understanding the comprehensive plan is supposed to be a document that plays the long game, not subject to changes haphazardly, carelessly, or casually. And perhaps more importantly, it is not to result in an adverse impact on public facilities and services. Although this comprehensive plan change may seem routine, it is anything but insignificant. In fact, this request is monumental in scope, and if approved, it will have a lasting, deleterious impact on the quality of life for Stevens Point residents. Private sector profiteers externalize their expenses by burdening public services on a routine basis. It's their business model. There is already evidence of this in our community. In a response to a FOIA request, I learned from Fire Chief Moody in 2024, there were a shocking 274 ambulance calls to the privately owned nursing home on Sherman Avenue. Residents there receive substandard care until a crisis point is reached, whereupon the ambulance is summoned, and the resident is transported to the hospital to receive the care they have already paid for and should have received. Recently, I asked Chief Moody to provide this same information for 2025, but this time, not only for the River Pines, which is on Sherman Avenue, but also for the Ensign-owned Willowbrook Senior Living Facility, and for comparison purposes, the Portage County Healthcare Center. Now, I hadn't heard anything back from him until I saw him standing in the doorway, and I approached him. And the information that he just handed to me moments ago, your head should explode. The Sherman Avenue property had 262 ambulance calls so far, but guess what? The year isn't over. The Ensign-owned property on Bluebell, this is just beyond Century, 170 ambulance calls. The Portage County Healthcare Center, 25. If that doesn't explain to you the adverse impact on public services when the private entity takes over and the number of ambulance runs alone explodes. Tell me how our EMTs, paramedics, and firefighters will be able to cope with that increase. The River Pines typically has a census of 20 patients. If that low census generates 274 ambulance calls or 262 calls in a year, imagine how many calls will come from a full 48-bed Ensign facility. Now, Ensign has claimed that it intends to add bariatric patients. And I don't know if you all know what a bariatric patient is, but it's someone who's severely obese, way overweight, typically 500 pounds and over. The building can't handle bariatric patients. The doorways aren't wide enough for the wheelchairs or the beds, but they plan on adding them. Don't explain to me how. I have no idea. So, think of how difficult it will be for the ambulance service to handle the special needs of these folks on a daily basis. By definition, this is an adverse impact on public facilities and services. And I urge you to deny the comprehensive plan change request. On zoning, I have many problems with this change, but one in particular on the application for zoning map amendments, specifically the area of subject property. According to the application, and I think it's in your packet, it states the area of rezoning is 16.0930 acres. It's my understanding the health care center, the building, sits on approximately 2 acres. At County Executive Pavelski's listening session at the Jensen Center in Amherst on September 8th, it was revealed that the proposed sale to Ensign includes 11 acres. Dave Laddick earlier tonight stated, we're sectioning off a portion of the land. Now, the asset purchase agreement document between Portage County and Ensign refers to a real property legal description. But when you look at that exhibit, where that information is supposed to exist, it states, in brackets, to be inserted. It's not even in that document. The taxpayers of Portage County deserve to have the basic pertinent information regarding this transaction before the City of Stevens Point grants a zoning change. The discrepancy between the zoning amendment request, verbal disclosures at public meetings, and the actual sales agreement need to be defined. I can't imagine how the city can move forward with a zoning change based on inadequate information from the county. To add insult to injury, Portage County has the city rezoning a property before those parameters are clearly defined. So, can we assume the entire 16+ acres are rezoned, but the sale is only 11, leaving 5 owned by the county, zoned R4? You should not recommend, well, that was for the Plan Commission. I hoped that they wouldn't recommend, but they did, until these irregularities are clarified. This is why I question why this zoning change is being brought by Portage County and not by the Ensign Group. It seems premature at best, considering there is a provision in the sales agreement that states if the sales agreement is approved by the county tomorrow night, a 30-day period will commence where Ensign can perform further due diligence and back out of the deal. If that happens, what then? The city will have already rezoned the entire property. Someone didn't think this through, and until that happens, you should deny the rezoning. And now I'll wrap it up. This is not the first time the city has been asked to issue a conditional use permit, but it's got to be among the few that are as insufficient as this one. This is virtually a blank piece of paper. The information provided by the county in this document is so lacking, so deficient, it makes it completely impossible for the public to discern what the intent is. I've been to more than my share of public meetings, and I have never seen an applicant for a conditional use permit submit an unsatisfactory application. Usually, the applicant provides an abundance of information to support their application. Applicants tend to go overboard, covering every possible detail in as transparent a manner as possible. This application falls so short it isn't even funny. Any other applicant would be laughed out of the room. The city of Stevens Point wants to attract new residents who will relocate here. Among the considerations prospective new residents make are employment opportunities, schools, access to health care, and yes, elder care. The detrimental impact of approval of this conditional use permit will lessen the possibility that new folks will want to move here. That is not in the best interest of the residents of the city of Stevens Point, the residents of Portage County, and beyond. The county should not be relying on city staff to flesh out their intentions. And I urge you, by all means, to deny all three of these requests. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. Liz McDonald?
Liz McDonald, 1760 Strongs Avenue, Stevens Point. First of all, thank you to the City Council for allowing us this time to discuss this issue with you. And thank you to the people that preceded me that did such a wonderful job, Nancy and everybody else, all the homework that they did, all the information that they brought together to provide to you as a City Council to help you make the right decision tonight. Well, here we are down to the wire on this very important community issue. This is the last chance for elected officials to listen to the voters and to do the right thing. We have been told that Portage County should be treated like any other applicant, anybody else that's asking for a zoning variation, a change of the comprehensive plan, etc. But they are not any other applicant. They are us. We are all Portage County as well as Stevens Point residents. Just because the Portage County Board ignored the wishes of the voters, it doesn't mean that you should too. I'm asking that you adhere to the land use identified in the comprehensive plan, and that you listen to the voters, and that you do the ethical thing and vote in the community interest, and vote no on these three items, 16, 17, and 18. Thank you.
Thank you, Liz. Mildred? She's coming.
My name's Mildred Neville. I live at 1709 Jefferson Street in Stevens Point. I agree with the majority of what has been said about the problems with making the changes that you're looking at tonight. There's something that I'm also looking at that I think is really critical to us moving forward as a city, and that is truth and honesty. I really was shocked that in the administrative staff report, which comes out from the Department of Community Development, there's a section called Findings of Fact, the second one of which is not true. It is not a fact. You could all check it like I did and find it out. Number 2, under findings of fact, the prospective buyer would be the Ensign Group, Inc., a privately managed post-acute care business. That's being presented to me as a citizen and to you as our alder people as fact, and it is not. When you look it up, the company overview for the Ensign Group says the Ensign Groups operate independent operating subsidiaries provide a broad spectrum of skilled nursing and senior living services, physical, occupational, and speech therapies, other rehabilitative and healthcare services, and real estate. Now, I brought this out on December 1st when the Plan Commission met. There's been ample time to make a change to this statement. It's 2 weeks later. This is still being put out tonight at the meeting where the voting took place. It's not accurate. It's not true. And in the meeting, nobody took the time to point out to me in any way, or to point out to anybody, staff or commissioners, that it makes any difference whether this is true or not. When I get something from my city government, and I expect that it's going to be true, and this isn't. The Ensign Group is not a privately managed post-acute care business. The Ensign Group is a bunch of subsidiaries. The subsidiaries to the Ensign Group are all separate legal entities. There are 2 of these that are in the plan for purchasing the health care center. One is basically buying the real estate, and the other is basically getting the operations part. But what floors me is, having brought this up, nobody seems to care on the Plan Commission. The Plan Commission, that is very important part of the government. And I believe what you should do is invalidate the 3, 16, 17, and 18. I think you should invalidate all 3 of those things. And if you don't invalidate them, then absolutely vote against them. But I think they should be invalidated. This information was put out to the public and to all of you that is not true. Thank you.
Thank you, Mildred. Ray Reeser?
Good evening, Council. First, thank you for allowing many of us to speak to all 3 items at once. These are so closely related, splitting them apart is nonsensical. I'm County Board Chair, Dr. Ray Reeser. I live in New Hope Township. Over the last 8 to 10 months, I have had the privilege of fielding countless public comments on this, and it has been a privilege. Also, the concerns of the people who have spoken tonight are not abstract for me. I'm going to share a little bit of family history. This year, I had a close family member who was quite ill pass away in our healthcare center. He received extremely good care, and he was treated with dignity as he passed away. I also had an older sister pass away in the Willows in Waupaca County. She also received excellent care and was treated with dignity. In the last 8 months, I've had a family member in Ensign's facility in Clintonville. He has also received excellent care. These are personal experiences for me on the level of care in both privately held and publicly held facilities. The concerns of the public are also not abstract. And also, with due deference, they're also not relative to the decisions this council is being asked to make tonight. If I could make 2 points of clarification. Ensign owns hundreds of facilities, as you know, across the country. Every single one of those facilities has 2 LLCs associated with it, a purchasing LLC and an operational LLC. Every single one. Ensign still owns them. The 2 LLCs that Mildred was referring to are a standard procedure for almost anyone in this industry. What that does is that holds individual facilities harmless from damage or lawsuits or things that may occur in another facility. Regarding the incredible stand of white pines in a delineated wetland behind the current healthcare center, it has been an asset to the people of Portage County and the healthcare center for well over a century. In the past, it had boardwalks and benches in it. At this point, they're in disrepair. The county believes that is a huge asset and should stay with the healthcare center regardless of who owns it. That property is being included in the sale of the healthcare center, should it sell, because the county believes the highest best purpose of that property is as an asset for the people who may be in that home. What I would ask the council to do tonight is consider the 3 points that have been vetted and recommended by your planning and zoning staff that have now been passed by your planning commission this evening. Please consider them on their merits. Thank you.
Thank you. Next, we have Kevin Ramakrishna.
Hi, I'm Kevin Ramakrishna. I'm with Reinhardt Berner Van Duren. I am representing the county. I just wanted to make a couple of points and following up on what Ray had to say. The first is about the application itself and the timeline and how this kind of came to be in front of you now. And the reality is we chose to file the applications after Ensign was picked, and we started to begin the negotiations into the purchase agreements. Once you start looking at the timelines, and I'm certain everyone is aware of this, once you start looking at the timelines for approvals, you have one plan commission meeting, I believe, a month. You have, I think, a 30-day holding period. Of course, you have different public notice requirements to make these modifications. So you have to sort of back up your closing date and just figure out how you're going to process these applications. Ultimately, they fell in December. There's nothing else particularly interesting about it. That's just how the timelines turned out. I will note that the request to rezone from R2 to R4 would still be acceptable for the, even if the sale did not go through, R4 still would allow the nursing home with a conditional use. So I don't think there's any real inconsistency in what we're asking for. Obviously, we understand that there is a current future land use map calling for government or institutional, but the use itself is not changing. And as we talk about the use not changing, there are two things that we've negotiated in these agreements that are designed to ensure long-term healthcare use. We have a right of first offer, and we have an option to purchase on behalf of the county that will be triggered if there is a change of use on the property or if Ensign attempts to sell. What that will do is open up a negotiating period for the county to acquire the property back. We do believe that we're going to have long-term health care here. I will note that Ensign has 300 facilities. They have not divested of any of them. And the reason is because, and I understand this is coming up and it's seen as a negative, but they are financed as a real estate investment trust. The design of those types of investments is to buy and hold real estate, so they don't sell as part of their ongoing obligations, right? It's not just some churning that some developers would do. What I expressed to the Plan Commission, and I think that this is important, is that we don't think as a municipality, you're not going to think on 5 years or 10-year plans. We think of 50 and 100-year plans when we're negotiating on behalf of the government. And so I wanted to keep that in mind. I spent a decade as an assistant city attorney for the city of Madison. I've done a lot of affordable housing and development work. That is something that we really strive to do, is making sure that the use would continue. And it's not always about getting all of the language right. It's about having the seat at the table when that day comes, because we know Ensign is not going to exist forever. The city of Stevens Point, the county of Portage will exist longer than they do, and we want to make sure that the deal that we have struck today will continue on long after they're gone. So with that, obviously you're not here to vet the deal necessarily with Ensign, but we hope that you guys can make the decision based on the zoning requirements that Adam put together. Thanks.
Thank you. Next up, Dave Laddick.
Thank you for hearing us out tonight. Dave Laddick, 4517 Nicolay Avenue, Stevens Point. Also a member of the County Board, District 7, and member of your Redevelopment Authority. Back when I joined the County Board 8 years ago, we had between 65 and 68 patients every month. Currently, we got 28 or 30, so there's been a big change in the nursing home. So the request is a rezoning request to comply with the city's rezoning code, which is in the process of being rewritten, and our county board, our county zoning is also changing. So staff has really prepared a good 10-page report here. Everything is, the county has met all the conditions and everything that we need to meet to get this approved tonight. I don't know, it seems like it's just a little technicality going from R2 to R4, because we're not building anything new. The nursing home will continue to be operated in the same manner, but it will have a different owner if we decide to sell it. We haven't even made that decision yet. That's going to be on a vote at our future board meeting tomorrow night. The building currently on the site is not changing and will be in compliance with all the standards, plus the existing land use is not changing. There'll be no adverse impact on public services or facilities, and will continue some good patient care. Staff believes that the change in zoning will be consistent with the city's comprehensive plan and the amendment to the city's future land use map. The change in zoning will not create adverse or unadjacent compatible lots. Our county went through an extensive process with our ad hoc committee in including 2 citizen members in vetting the prospective buyers. I think we started with 6 and looked at who would be providing the best health care and actually visited their facilities. Going back to Pinecrest, which Ensign now owns up in Lincoln County, I found a patient advocate up there from a family member that had some personal contacts with them. So I spoke with her yesterday. Her name is Patty B. She stated that there has been an improvement in patient care up at Pinecrest under the Ensign ownership. And she was very pleased. And she even said that she is very picky. Her cousin is a patient in there, and they looked at other healthcare facilities before they placed him there. She said she has not met a nurse or a CNA that isn't pleased, and they are all very compassionate. The weekend staff was great communication, very clean, and the rehab was outstanding. And I also want you to think about what happens sometimes when we maybe pass on some projects, and I know we got a lot of public sentiment here, but remember back in Edgewater Manor, we had an opportunity to sell that for $1.2 million, I think it was back when. But the public pushback, it was decided to keep it. And eventually, the city residents were relocated and the building was demolished, and the lot is still empty. Now, granted, we're still working on getting something there, which will be coming, I'm sure. But normally, when you have rezoning changes, it brings the neighbors out who are opposed, like we had on Hoover and HH. There hasn't been any residents here opposing this zoning change that have announced that they're a neighbor here so far. It was all the people have been opposed to the sale, which we're not really talking about tonight. Okay, so if the sale is approved by the county board, the property goes back on the tax roll, taxes will be paid. I heard testimony that it's that is the best on public land and it should be preserved. But just realize it's a building and not a park. The use isn't changing one bit, only the ownership is, like any other business. I did talk to Ryan, who's the Pinecrest administrator up at Lincoln County. He had really good things to say about transitioning from county ownership to Ensign. He stated that nursing homes have a very complex in this day and age. It's running different than in prior years. With all the regulations and coding, you really need a lot of specialists. So the Ensign works is they have a lot of specialties in this area. They run in a cluster group where you have 3 or 4 or maybe 5 buildings working together, and they all share ideas back and forth. They share staff back and forth. They have economies of scale when they're buying stuff. He stated on August 1st, they had about high 60s to low 70s for a census. Right now, he's got that to over 90 right now. They're going out and being creative and getting more patients to fill those beds. He said we're actually serving a greater portion of the population, and he was pretty proud of that, and hired 30 people. And he did say that some people had to leave, mostly in the food service area, one in a maintenance area. None of the skilled nursing staff left. They're all there. He did say that the STAR system is a less than perfect system, doesn't take much to tank it. He said, you can really get good quality care even if it's a 3 or 4 star. Not that we'll ever go that way, but let's hope that we can keep it a 5 star. Asked about the ambulance calls. He said there has been no increase in ambulance calls. If it's a medical necessity, the issue is mostly the issue of the covering provider, and when they call the provider who's responsible for the nursing home that day, see if they want to do extra testing on the patients or if they want to send the patient out to the hospital. So I thought that was really helpful. In the planning zoning meeting, there was a comment about Pinecrest had a violation right after they started. Comment was withheld medication, which is not true. The pharmacy wasn't able to provide the medication under short notice, and after checking off all their sources, it took an additional day. I read the report some time ago because it did come up before. It had stated no harm was done, although it was reported. It's kind of like blaming your server at the restaurant that your meal wasn't prepared correct. Your meal was incorrectly prepared. So in closing, I don't think Portage County is the only one that can provide good health care, and I hope we pass a zoning change so we can possibly move forward and see what the county board actually decides to do. It's not a done deal until we have our county board meeting. Thank you.
Thank you. Andrea Olson.
Hi, Andrea Olson, 410 Franklin Street. I'm going to speak on the zoning. So the city's zoning, they said that the code identifies publicly managed nursing home facilities as conditional uses starting in the R2 single-family residential district. Privately managed nursing home facilities are conditional use, again, starting in the R4 multifamily district. If the argument is being made that the reason for the zoning change from R2 to R4 is use, is it really a change of use? Functionally, no, it's a change in ownership and operator, not necessarily a change of use. Like turning a nursing home into an apartment, that would be a change of use. The facility continues to operate as a nursing home. Legally and regulatorily, possibly it's treated as a significant change. Full regulatory review, license transfer, similarly to major operational shift. The primary regulatory action is a change of ownership, CHOW, process, not a change in use in the sense that of altering the building's purpose, but it's a major regulatory hurdle requiring Department of Health Services approval to ensure continued quality of care. So is it an ownership change and non-conforming, or in an ownership change, a non-conforming use can continue unless a span of a year has occurred requiring the non-conforming use become conforming. The use can be lost if abandoned for more than 12 months or if a building is destroyed. If the use is changing, according to Wisconsin SPS 366.0101, and what the city tells most private parties wanting to use a building for a different use, the building then has to be brought up to current code, costing millions of dollars. The county was quoted $20 million to renovate the current structure. And then this entity is saying it'll be about $1 million for them to renovate. But if the use is changing, then you have to bring it up to current code. Or is the city commercial inspector going to give some preferential treatment when reviewing the situation and make decisions like bringing the building up to current code would not be financially feasible? So they would be giving review admissions. If the true purpose buyer wants it, say that. If R4 is more desirable for any commercial property owner, or R4 is more desirable for any commercial property owner or residential property owner, because it's less constraining and allows higher impact uses. However, let's remind the county then that the R4 property is more valuable than R2. So the agreed upon price should reflect the zoning change. This is no different than when the county bought land last year. The reason used for paying commercial pricing for agricultural land was due to the future zoning and future planned use of that land. The land surrounding the center surrounding the healthcare center is valuable. That needs to be reflected in the price. And you can look for some supporting information by the for 2025, the Wisconsin adopted the International Building Code for 2021. And in general there, 301.1, the provision of the chapter is to shall control the classification of all buildings and structures as to occupancy and use. Different classification Occupancy and use represent varying levels of hazard and risk to building occupants and adjacent properties. So when you look at that, you can go into your class and use designation. Occupancy classification, the formal primary purpose of the building. Right. Number 6 is institution, is a nursing home or hospital. So then you can go under 302.2, which is use designation. Occupancy groups contain subordinate uses having similar hazards and risks to building occupants. Use includes, but not are limited to, those functions designated specific within the occupancy group, blah, blah, blah. Certain uses require limitations and controls in accordance with the provisions and elsewhere in this code. This is sort of why they have all of this. So again, you look at your institutional group, which this falls into, again, and the building structures for medical care and 24-hour basis for more than 5 people, which this is and incapable of self-preservation. This group is hospitals, nursing homes. So really a change of use or not? Because if it isn't really a change of use, then there would be no reason to change from R2 to R4. But if this is a change of use, then we need to keep in mind everything else that might come with this, the cost for doing all the renovations and expect this entity that's buying the building to bring the building up to current code. So I am for getting this back on the tax base. I would like to see it purchased at a fair price based on the large amount of acreage associated with it. And I would also love to see some more aging in place options on that site. So some housing for people prior to needing to use the nursing home. But I want to make sure that the change is being presented for zoning is being presented accurately and for the right reasons. And then if the change is going to occur, that the correct process follows after that for what has to be done. Thank you.
Thank you. John Pavelski.
Good evening, Mayor Wiesa, council members. Good evening. We're looking at an amendment to the comprehensive use plan, a change in the zoning, and also a conditional use permit permitted. We came to your staff a need came for the potential sale of the healthcare center, and we had to change these 3 things. So we came to your staff because we didn't know your zoning totally, and your staff gave us the recommendations to get the potential sale of a healthcare center going forward. It's important to emphasize that the actual use of the property is not changing. The current use is that of a skilled nursing facility and will remain in its use as a skilled nursing facility. For this reason alone, these recommendations should be approved based on a routine going through the process. I understand there have been some vocal comments and opinions which have offered to sway your vote away from the applicable standards. While other factors should not bear upon your decision, I will address some of those matters and concerns that have been brought up. In order to do that, I have to give you some history and chronology of the healthcare center. The Portage County Health Schedule has been struggling financially for some time. It has lost about $600,000 per year on average for the last 10 years. The county has presented this issue and has provided supporting documentation at county board meetings, healthcare committee meetings. Back in 2018, a referendum passed to fund the healthcare center's operating losses for 4 years to determine if there could be a possibility of making it functional and operational without any losses. The resulting plan was to ask taxpayers for more money to operate said building or to build a new building and a new facility paid for by levying the taxpayers $4.5 million per year for up to 20 years. The second referendum passed at the same time that I became elected. We, or the county, began and hired an architect and developed a construction plan and hired a company to put together a plan for the new healthcare center. The plan called for a brand-new 32-bed skilled nursing facility with an 8-bed assisted living facility. When the building cost projections came in, what was originally estimated not to exceed $19.5 million ended up being $23.5 million. And our operating deficits had dramatically increased due to reduced census and cost increases seen across all sectors of the economy. With the increased capital cost, the county could no longer fulfill the obligations of the referendum. Of the 2 referendums you heard about, one was fulfilled, but the second proved to be insufficient. Then in August of 2024, the Healthcare Center Committee approved another resolution asking for a third referendum for the county to further exceed its tax levy by $3.5 million per year from the years 2025 to 2024. However, that resolution, the county board did not approve. The consensus was that it was just getting too expensive for the county to be in the skilled nursing facility business. That's where the public interest comes in. With that vote, the county was left with 2 options, to close the facility or to sell. The county board chose the options of pursuing selling the healthcare center. That's why we're here tonight. We have listened to what the citizens had to say, as well as their concerns, and formed an ad hoc committee to potentially find an appropriate buyer for the healthcare center. The buyer had to meet 3 criteria. Had to provide quality care. It had to have been in the healthcare business for an extensive period of time, and also have a substantially appropriate balance sheet, financial balance sheet, and must offer the current healthcare center workers a compensatory wage. Members of the ad hoc committee toured a number of facilities, and Ensign was chosen to be the best fit for the above criteria. Operating a skilled nursing facility is very difficult to operate standalone, especially a governmental facility. Why? The amount of licenses and permits that need to be attained and kept up to date is extensive. The extensive regulations that need to be adhered to and the documentation of care that needs to be recorded and filed is also extensive. The complicated billing and accounting to be done for financial accuracy is very, very challenging. You need actually very expertise individuals to get that done. There are very little economies of scale to aid profitability when you're running a single standalone skilled nursing facility. You have no partners to share resources. What adjustments have to be made in regards to staffing, supplies, specialized services to patients such as respiratory care, dialysis, occupational therapy, and others. With the nature of the business, many decisions have to be made quickly and decisively to respond to changing conditions, such as adjusting to Medicare, Medicaid payments, patient care, staffing needs, building upkeep, equipment maintenance, equipment calibration, and others. Because decision-making is tied to government processes and politics, the county's experience, it does not react in a timely manner to be efficient and economically sustainable. We believe, based on the research, that Ensign brings with it the ability to increase census along with more services by working in conjunction with surrounding medical facilities it owns and the resources and expertise they have within their organization, as seen with the facility that they just currently attained at Pine Crest. There are also claims that Ensign will put condominiums or high-rises or apartment complexes on the property. Ensign owns over 300 healthcare facilities. They have been in business since 2005. They have not divested of one. Regardless of what the county the county has negotiated clauses in the purchase agreements giving the county the right of first offer to Ensign if Ensign looks to sell the property, and an option to buy back the property if there's a change of use. Importantly, for the city, any change to expand the footprint of the facility operating with a conditional use must come before you, according to that conditional use permit, for your review, approval, or denial. So you actually have a say-so yet to if that property conditions change. Some people may say that we are rushing this decision through. This decision has been going on for years. The county board has already chosen not to go to a referendum for a third time almost 18 months ago, and has used that time to find a capable buyer. This is a county board decision to make. Please let the county board make it so we can keep this skilled nursing facility in the county. I bring all this background to hopefully clear up some of the misinformation that unfortunately is out there. From my experience of being county executive, we have a very caring, capable community. We are very generous, we are industrious, and we are truly concerned for one another. Statistics show that sometimes up to 70% of the people don't like change. There's an aspect of fear that sets in when poor decisions are made. Let's not make decisions based upon fear. There are many people here today that can answer any of your questions or concerns that you may have. Please use them and make the best possible, appropriate, and wise decision. Thank you.
Thank you. And with that, our speaker list is exhausted.
Oh, no.
Ladies and I have you on here. Let me just double check. Carlene, that's okay then. I know.
Maybe at the end.
I went through every one.
I signed the speaker list over here. Is there something else I was supposed to do? Oh, I'm sorry, I didn't know.
That's quite all right, Carlene. Go ahead.
Thank you, Mike. I really appreciate it.
I know, we get confusing sometimes. It's a messy process sometimes to try and keep order. Go ahead.
Thank you for allowing me to speak. Thank you, all of you. I know it's a lot to listen to. I'm going to want to tell you about yet another huge deficiency in the county's application, and in a big hole, something that was missed by the administrative staff report and the findings of fact. Is the county getting special treatment? I think they're certainly asking for special treatment. I bet that you've been reminded that you may not step on the big toes of Mr. Pavelski and Mr. Reeser. It is the county's business whether they sell the healthcare center or not. It's not a decision that this body makes, clearly. You are not on the county board, and they are right about that. To a point. You will not be voting on selling the healthcare center. However, whatever mindset or internal politics have brought the county officials to this place, you still have a job to do. You serve as an alder for your Stevens Point constituents. You must honor the Stevens Point Comprehensive Plan and not give the county officials special treatment. Zoning and conditional use are both governed by the comprehensive plan, and I'm going to really concentrate on the comprehensive plan, which you must take at face value. And when you do that, you will have no choice but to vote to deny this request to amend the plan, as well as the zoning and conditional use that they're asking for. There are two distinct points in our comprehensive plan that make it impossible for you to grant these requests. First, from page 183 of the comprehensive plan, I'm quoting, "The amendment shall not create an adverse impact on public facilities and services." It does not say public facilities and services owned and operated by the city of Stevens Point. It says public facilities and services. That's very broad. And it includes, I would argue, the healthcare center. There is an impact, there would be an impact on the healthcare center quality of services if these items are passed, if these requests are granted. Adverse effects. What are the adverse effects? There's a lot of research documenting the adverse effects that privatization has on publicly owned and operated nursing homes. The pattern is predictable. Staffing cuts, that's always where the money comes from, for the profit. That's the best place to get money. Staffing cuts will lead to lower quality care. More ambulance runs, which we've heard about, higher mortality. If you Google the negative effects of, or just the effects of privatization on nursing homes, you are going to find lots and lots and lots of research pieces, of articles and websites, many of them from the government. Some are even international, and the same thing happens in other countries. So it is out there. It's very easy to find. We should reasonably expect more falls, bed sores, infections, and deaths if this privatization takes place. Mr. Pavelski's requests fail to address these likely outcomes. And he fails to explain how these likely outcomes are in the public interest. According to the comprehensive plan, the applicant bears the burden of proof. This is really important. Bears the burden of proof to show that the proposed amendment is in the public interest. And there hasn't been any evidence that I can see to meet that burden of proof. How is it that the changes that the research tells us are going to happen could possibly be in the public interest? And this is what the comprehensive plan demands. And you need to follow the comprehensive plan. This is important. Mr. Pavelski has said nothing at all about the quality of care provided by the healthcare center and how it would change after the sale. The application simply says, and we've been hearing this, the current use will not change. Everything will be the same. Well, according to the research, everything will not be the same. And we need to recognize that. I think I have heard some discussion. This is the most explanation I've heard about why you need to grant these requests. Having a for-profit nursing home is preferable to having no nursing home at all. If you are one of the people represented by the increased morbidity numbers, that is to say if you die, it would have been better to be sent to a high-quality nursing home far away than to go to the Ensign's new for-profit business in Stevens Point. Clearly, neither Mr. Pavelski nor his surrogates have proven that the proposed amendment is in the public interest, and it is not in the public interest. And that is what should be important to you as you are being guided by the comprehensive plan. Honorable Alders, you must work within the rules that are part of the Stevens Point Comprehensive Plan. Extensive research tells us that a for-profit facility would not be in the best interest of the public. Instead, privatization would create a serious adverse impact on the health care services available to the people of Stevens Point. Why is that so? We have only one other skilled nursing facility. They have a Medicare star rating of 1 out of 5. And our healthcare center, the Portage County Healthcare Center, has 5 stars. If that is sold, we will no longer have very soon, if we can believe the research, it's scientific research. Therefore, you must reject this request. Finally, the standards of review for comprehensive plan amendment standards of review do not allow special privileges or rights for this request just because it was brought by the county executive. This application does not meet the standards required for approval. It is not, there is no evidence, let alone proof, that these changes would be in the public interest. You have no choice but to reject all 3. I also want to point out that if you do make the changes that are requested, we heard some discussion in the Plan Commission that it would no longer be possible for the existing healthcare center to operate on that property because they only have that designation because they were grandfathered in. So if you change for the new owner that the county officials have selected, there will be no possibility, and they don't sell, there'd be no possibility for our healthcare center. They would have to go through another zoning revision or a conditional use permit in order to get permission to be able to operate. Anyway, I want to thank you for allowing me to speak and your patience in listening to so much. Thank you.
Thank you, Carlene. Okay, now our speaker list is exhausted. Before we bring it back to the Common Council, I want to say just a few words. I appreciate everyone showing up tonight. I hope that appreciation is reciprocated in the latitude we've provided for speakers with additional time and talking about all the topics at once. Ladies and gentlemen of the council, when we have those public comments, we do our best not to censor what's said. We've been called stinking commies and things like that. Keith's not here tonight, so we're okay. But it's important to note that errors get corrected. The last one about the rezoning is absolutely not true. County Healthcare Center would still be allowed to operate in an R4. Every zoning classification allows the things that are underneath it, and I think most of you know that already. The other one was the comprehensive plan is not the be-all, end-all. I asked the clerk's office to check and see just how many future land use map changes we've made to the comprehensive plan over the last handful of years. And it was about 10. That's only to the future land use map. That has nothing to do with the additional changes that were done to the comprehensive plan. So much to the point that the state has statutes specifically speaking to the process of amending a comprehensive plan. It is actually expected that we make changes periodically as conditions change. You have heard a plethora of testimony. You have staff that is available here. They've vetted each of these requests to make sure that they are complete and accurate to the best of their ability. They have provided opinions on the standards of review, and all of them have been recommended by staff. If anyone feels that staff has not done their job or disagrees with that, I need to know. We'll make sure those go on the review, but it was recommended and vetted through staff, recommended for approval through the Plan Commission, which passed all three of these, and the same recommendation holds true for council. If you are interested in opposing any of these, the only thing I would advise is that you provide some reference to the standards of review which you believe are not met, just so we have those things on record, depending on what happens going forward. So with that, we'll go through these next three items. The first one is, of course, the item number 16. That's a resolution, a request from the county to amend the comprehensive plan with the future land use designation changing from institutional/government to commercial, office, and multifamily. I should point out that the city attorney is still here, so if anybody has questions from staff or the applicants, we'll just bring them back up. What are your wishes?
Mr. Mayor, I would...
you need a motion, yes.
That's what he's
That's why I'm asking what your wishes are.
Mr. Mayor, I would move approval of the resolution as presented.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Seconded by Morrow. Now, discussion on item number 16, and I would ask council to keep those comments germane. President Christensen.
I guess I've appreciated all the comments and all of the points made. I hear some of the facts and I interpret them differently. For example, there's been a lot of concern about whether or not public services will be impacted. I go back to the August 2024 motion and that action that was taken by the county board where they didn't approve further funding I am concerned that if a sales doesn't go forth, public services will not be served, because I don't think we'll have a county nursing home at all. If the best prediction of the future is the past, and the county board made it pretty clear, they're not comfortable subsidizing it to the level that they've been subsidizing it. I think they've spoken. So if we're looking at public services being addressed, I don't think we have to worry about a one-star facility operating. Ensign as a whole has been operating on the average at 3 to 3.5 from what we were told tonight, which is a pretty respectable thing. And I think when you take a look at the people that we have working in that facility, I have no doubt that they'd be operating at least at that level. So if I have a choice between having a closed healthcare center or one being sold, maintained, and being a service to this community, I think that's how public service is going to be best respected. And so that's why I am in favor of this comprehensive plan amendment.
Thank you. Alderperson Guthrie.
Thank you, Mayor. Thanks so much to the staff who worked with the county electeds and staff on the proposal. You've heard me speak at a few committee meetings, and so I'll be brief. Respectfully, I see the burden of proof not being met on item 4 for a standard of review for the comprehensive plan amendment that states the amendment shall not create an adverse impact on public facilities and services. Well, I respect the right of the county to operate its operations and its mission as it sees fit. It seems the question before me right now is whether I see public facilities and services being maintained if this change comes, and I do not. I'll also comment on, this darn comprehensive plan of ours. We seem to rely on and lean on it when it is convenient and cite its outdatedness when we disagree with it. We have a strategic plan that was voted on just before my tenure as an alder began that cited the strategic vision of this community to be vibrant and livable and people-focused. And so tonight I'll be voting no on the resolution to change our comprehensive plan. And because of that vote of no, I'll just say that my other votes will be no as well because of lack of alignment then between the zoning and the comprehensive plan long-term land use map. And I'll yield.
Thank you. Anyone else down the line?
Firstly, thanks to everyone coming out to speak at all of these meetings. This is obviously one of those issues everyone is very passionate about. I have heard from lots of constituents and other residents, so thank you for the participation there. I want to say I really don't believe that there's any maliciousness involved in this decision. There's really a lot of perception that there's some sort of sneakiness happening, like people are being intentionally duplicitous. I have not seen that. I think it's really obvious to understand where the county is coming from here. It's not really a decision of are we going to be publicly owned or privately owned. It's a decision of will this facility stay open or will it not? So I understand that. I want to recognize that. Lots of respect for our fellow citizens on the county board. With that being said, though, we have heard a lot from the county tonight that we are not supposed to be voting on whether or not we agree with the sale. We are just looking at this application. Do we rezone? Do we allow conditional use? However, I haven't heard any arguments from the county that haven't relied on whether or not we should support the sale. It sounds like they're saying we shouldn't consider that, but then they have also spoken on why the sale is happening. which I'm not sure I understand. To me, this really is just about the strength of the application. So with that being said, I don't think this is a very strong application. So just looking at the findings in the administrative report here, I don't see that we will have met the standard number 2. If we do approve this, I think we will be giving special privilege to the county. I don't think that this application is strong enough to meet that burden of proof. So given that we do need to review this like we would review any other request, not considering whether or not we agree with the sale, I can't support this application, so I will be denying tonight.
Thank you. Anyone else on this side? Okay, then I'll move to the other side. Alderperson Kneebone.
Yes. Well, I was the no vote on the Plan Commission. I'm also the one who made the comment about medication being withheld from a patient. I got that from the newspaper, the Wausau Pilot, and according to them, and I quote, an alternative drug was prescribed, but not delivered as expected on August 20th or 21st. The resident was hospitalized that day for treatment.
Excuse me, Carlene, you can't close that door.
No.
Okay, it was noisy, but I can open it up again if you want.
Yeah, we have to keep it open. It's an open meeting. They're dealing with something in the PD. That's fine.
Made another mistake.
We're all good. So I'm sorry, Alderperson.
No, that's okay.
Just didn't want us to violate any laws.
There was a comment made by someone that referenced that comment that I made, so I wanted to clarify that. And it does, the article does go on to say that they planned, they did a plan, and they were going to meet, but they couldn't determine whether they ever met to follow through on withholding medication or not being able to come up with medication, even an alternative. And I think that goes to number 4, the amendment shall not create an adverse impact on public facilities and services. And services is the key here, I think. You don't go from a 5-star to a 3 or a 1 and say it's the same. Yeah, there might be a nursing home there, but is it going to be a good nursing home? We don't know. We can only look at the statistics about this company, and they're not good. In terms of, let's see, I had another comment from the Stevens Point Journal. While Ensign may want to retain some of the currently unoccupied land surrounding the facility for things like outdoor space for residents, future additions, and other operational needs, any other additional land would be viewed as a liability for the company, one of their spokespeople said. Ensign will work with the county to determine which portions of the property will be relevant to the future operations of the facility and which should remain under county ownership. So if we rezone the whole property, then whatever parcel, part of that parcel the county retains could be developed by the county. And we may or may not have anything to say about that. And again, I think that this creates an adverse impact. We don't know if we'll even have that public facility. With the ability of the property being rezoned to a higher use, we don't know that the amendment will not create an adverse impact on adjacent land or land uses. We don't know that. We don't know what might be done with the other part of that parcel. I don't think that that has been met. I think number 2, granting special privileges. It seems to me most every other applicant that comes forward with this is the person that's going to be running the show. I don't know why the county, who wants to divest themselves of this property, is coming forward and seeking all these things so they can just give it to this company. I feel like this is a special privilege that's being granted to the county. And I don't like that part in particular. On May 5th, 2024, Senator Elizabeth Warren, Senator Bernie Sanders, Senator Richard Blumenthal, and Lloyd Doggett, a member of Congress, sent a letter to the CEO of Ensign and wanted to know why they could spend $145 million over between 2018 and 2023 to pay their top executives, to buy back their own stock, and to give dividends to their stockholders. And their executives received more in pay and compensation than executives at the other two nursing home chains combined. And that comes at the expense of patient care. Because the only way you're going to make that kind of money is to cut staff, cut benefits, cut insurance, cut hours. This has an adverse effect. I'm a no on all three. I was a no at plan. I was a lonely no, but still, I don't think that the standards for changing the comprehensive plan have been met completely. And that does not imply that I don't feel our staff did a good job. I think they did, but I don't think they looked at enough things here to make these decisions. So that's why I feel that condition number 2, number 3, and number 4 on comprehensive plan amendment have not been met. Thank you.
Thank you. Anyone else on this side?
Sure.
Alder Lang.
I'm going to also just thank everybody for coming out. Thank you all for coming out and having the opportunity. It's hard to hear. Let's just say thank you for everybody who's come out and had their say on these things. I've got quite a bit of feedback from the community on this and talked with quite a few people coming up to this decision tonight. I'd have to, upon review, agree with a few of the people up here, Mary and Broderick and Jackie over there as well. There's just a few things that haven't been met by the county on the standard of review, in my opinion here. When we're looking at a few things here, number 4, if we're going to lose a county service in the form of an old folks home, I don't understand how that's not like impacting. So that's number 4 for me. Just like, I don't understand how you can argue or make that argument that we're not going to have a detrimental impact on a public service when we're not going to have a public service. If it's just, that's the decision you guys have made. That's a whole different thing. But when I also look at this thing, I'm supposed to be implementing a future land use map. That's our comp plan. And as we've talked at length about, the comp plan is only as strong as the results that our decisions come to. So when I look at that, I don't see something in my comp plan that's telling me our future land use is a commercial multifamily. It's government institutional. And if you want me to change that, I think there's a planning process. And so that goes to the application, which is, does this change a existing policy or create a new one? And I'm like, think what we have here. We are creating a policy if we no longer have that service in the county. We're no longer doing this as government and institutional. And if that's not a creation of a new policy, I don't know what it is. So I just feel that, 1, the application's a bit thin. I would like to see some more in here. Does this proposed ordinance amendment represent a new policy or revision to existing policy? I think it does. I think and I'm not saying, like, I just would like to see it in here, that that is the policy, that Portage County is no longer going to provide this public service, and we are going to have it now operated by a public entity. I'm like, that I think fits right there in that box, but I have one word in there, it's no. And that's part of the reason why I'm like, I don't find what I have in front of me as adequate or sufficient to be able to support yet.
Thank you. Anyone else? We'll go to Boozy and then Morrow, and then we'll vote.
Yeah, I also want to thank everyone for coming out. Staff put together a good report overview. Just listening to feedback and specifically speaking to future land use regarding updating the comprehensive plan, being that it is in District 10, looking at the surrounding areas that this is within, I feel like the future land use request fits. To me, this is an area that, yes, it has been an institutional government area for some time. Looking around it, if I'm being objective about what's in front of me, updating to a commercial office multifamily future use within that area doesn't or fits as the staff report states. And I guess I'll leave some of the other comments for the other items, but one of the reoccurring themes appears to be within the application, a lot of reference to the special considerations for amendment, specifically D, the amendment shall not create an adverse impact. This, to me, reads a little bit cyclical in the fact that creating, if we're being specific, additional EMS calls is fielded by the county. That's a county service. So if we're talking about additional EMS calls, if we're talking about increased cost, we're talking about a cost burden that is ultimately borne by the county. I'm in agreement with Alder Broderick that I don't see a nefarious attempt or purpose behind this, but I have to believe that there's some thought that goes into this process on updating or changing a healthcare facility, in that if we're going to look at potential outcomes of increased ambulance service, we're shifting a cost burden from ourselves to ourselves. So I don't find that will bear into my support of this future land use resolution. But I wanted to speak to that as it was something I had trouble squaring as what we're talking about being an adverse effect to public facilities. So I guess in summary, I'll be supporting the future land use resolution.
Thank you. Alder Morrow.
What Alder Guthrie and Mark had said is right. I mean, folks use the comp plan for what they want, for what they actually want out of it. If they wanted something that is in the comp plan, they count on they say the comp plan says this. If they don't, I think we need to amend, I think that we need to amend it. And that's something that we see over and over and over again. And this debate about the healthcare center has been going on for years. Not as long as the courthouse, but it's been going on for years and years and years. And I know the county has tried different ways to fund it. They've tried ways to improve it. For years, they didn't have anyone in it, and then they try to get folks then they've gotten folks to go there and so on. And they've tried over and over again to try to fix it. And they're at a point where from all of the meetings, all of the studies, all the more meetings, all the more studies they've had, they come to the conclusion that it's not a feasible thing they're able to really do. And our elected officials on the county board have made a choice. I know it wasn't an easy choice. It took them several years to get here, and it is what it is. I mean, as opposed to having it zoned from a public house, from a public health care to private in my own area. I have North Haven, Northcrest, Northridge, Willowbrook, and I also have Harmony Village. I mean, those are the nursing homes that are around where I actually live. There are ambulances there every week. In where Willowbrook is, they have independent living, they have assisted living, they have skilled homes there, and I go there on a regular basis. I mean, and I haven't heard any complaints. I go down to the assisted living, I go down to the independent living as well. I mean, nobody, when they grow old, chooses to go to a nursing home. I mean, some do, but I haven't met any yet. And I mean, it is at that stage of life where they end up needing more, when they need more care. And at the North Crest, it's the memory. I have a bunch of. They are for dementia. They're for Alzheimer's. They're for memory care. And there are ambulances there a lot. I mean, they're there weekly. That's what those kind of facilities are there for. They're for to help folks, but then when they get to that stage of life, that's their end at times. So I am in support of this. I'd rather have another facility here because I think if not, it's going to be closed. And that's where we're at.
Thank you. As a future note, you may if you'd like, but you're not required to tell how you're going to vote until we actually call for the vote. I know several people have done that, and that's fine, but you don't have to do that. Alder Shuda, and then we're going to vote.
Yeah, I got to go back to staff trusting that Adam and his staff has done well, and also the Portage County staff has vetted and done their due diligence, and feeding off of that to what Alder Christensen started out with, and Alder Merrill just reinforced that if it is not sold, we may not have it at all. I have been going to nursing homes since 1979. Been in every facility in this county and many facilities throughout the state of Wisconsin and outside the state of Wisconsin. Each one is, it doesn't matter if they're publicly or privately owned. Some were bad, some were good. And it's all a matter of how everybody interprets what they are. My mother was in Portage County Healthcare Center. Okay, she passed away there. They did a great job. My father now is in another nursing home in the city, and they're doing a fantastic job, and they are privately owned. So the whole bowl isn't always the same. You have to do it independently, and hopefully the vetting that the county people have done will give us a nice facility if it does indeed go through.
Thank you. All right. The item we're voting on is number 16. That's the request from Portage County to amend the Stevens Point Comprehensive Plan with the future land use designation from institutional government to commercial, office, multifamily. It's been motioned and seconded. If you are in favor, you will vote yes. If you are opposed, you will vote no. And the clerk will call the roll.
Christensen?
Aye.
Guthrie?
No.
Keemer?
Aye.
Broderick?
No.
Burr?
Aye.
Steinmetz?
Aye.
Kneebone?
No.
Shuda?
Aye.
Lang?
No.
Boozy?
Aye.
And Morrow?
Aye.
7-4.
7-4.
7-4, that passes. Item number 17 is a resolution. This is the rezoning request for that 825 Whiting Avenue parcel, identified in your packet from R2 Single Family Residential District to the R4 Multiple Family Residence, Family 1 Residential District.
Motion to approve.
Thank you. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Boozy. Discussion there? Yes.
Let's see, this is which one is this? Oh, the R2 to R4. They can operate,
Long night, I get it.
a public nursing home can operate with a conditional use permit in an R2 zone. So we don't need to rezone except to allow a private company to come in and take over the nursing home, the healthcare center, which is not just a nursing home. People go there to recover and rehabilitate from things like knee replacements, hip replacements. It's not just a nursing home where people go and just wait for us old folks to die. It's a place where a lot of people go to get excellent care, to rehab from things that they can't do at home with care coming in. So for the county, they don't need an R4. They can operate, they can get a conditional use permit right now for their public healthcare facility. The only reason to go to R4 is in order to sell it to a private entity. And it's pretty much been proven that this private entity doesn't do the best care. They spend a lot of money buying back stock, and they spend a lot of money paying their executives. But they sure don't like any kind of staffing requirements or skilled nursing requirements. They want to go on the cheap. So it's, the county can do this with an R2. The only reason they need the R4 is for the private entity, so.
Thank you. Anyone else?
I'll just add something that I didn't share earlier related to the zoning change. I am troubled by the county seeking a zoning change on behalf of a different organization, and would prefer to see, and staff are welcome to correct me if I'm wrong, I would prefer to see these requests come through if the sale happens and the facility is owned and chooses to be operated by this other organization, rather than relying third hand based on negotiations that are not all public, being conducted right now by the county that are not completed. So unless staff has concerns about the timing, I will be a no vote on this, and welcome it coming back when the healthcare center is owned by a different entity that needs it in order to operate.
Thank you. And I'm not sure who's left in staff in the overflow room, but I can tell you, Alderperson, that this is not uncommon. A lot of sales have been contingent upon proper rezoning changes or proper conditional use permits. The city itself has actually utilized that as a condition of sale. We offer to purchase based on council approval or whatever it happens to be. So it's not uncommon that they are made as a condition of sale.
It may not be uncommon, but again, my question to staff would be, is this going to preclude them from seeking this once they own the facility?
It will not preclude them from seeking it once they own the facility, but it likely won't happen because it's a condition of sale.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. You look as if you don't understand.
I feel like my question is not being answered, nor by the individuals I am requesting to address
I
it.
am staff, Alderperson.
You're an elected official.
All of the staff.
Are you
Yes.
not an elected official?
Yes, and I get paid by the city of Stevens Point as staff. Who would you like to answer this, Alderperson?
I don't know which staff are left. I don't
Me
know.
either. I'm telling you what it is, and I don't think you're going to get a different answer from staff. If you do tomorrow, I will be the very first person to. There we go, Director Kivela.
Come on
Thanks
down.
for joining us.
That's why I started. It's like I don't know who's left there because I don't.
Can you repeat the question?
I'd be delighted to. Thanks for coming in.
Yes.
So my question is there something pressing that I don't understand about the county requesting a zoning change? Right now, as I understand it, they can operate the facility through conditional use with the current zoning. And while they explore sale options with this or other organizations, is there anything pressing us to approve this zoning change now based on so much being uncertain?
I would say nothing truly pressing. However, when going through, the purchase of a property, especially with, two large organizations, they do like to have some certainty before proceeding with any sale or doing any further due diligence. So just working historically in the past with other companies and sales in that aspect, that's why it's usually added as a condition of the sale, as they'd like to make sure that they, have the appropriate things in place for them to operate. Otherwise, they would not proceed with all of the other elements in due diligence.
Oh, hang on. Alderperson, does that answer your question? No.
So yes, if they continue to operate, they could continue to operate in R2. I would say in staff's opinion, again, R2 is maybe not the best, for no matter what nursing home you're looking at. A higher commercial district or, residential district would be more appropriate for that.
And has our staff reviewed the contract, and do we understand the nuance and detail of the conditions of sale? And do we know for sure that this is included in that?
We have not thoroughly reviewed the contract. That is not typically part of our review standards.
We have the applicant here. They can answer that question. Our representative of the applicant.
I'm Kevin. I'm at Reinhardt. Hi. Yes, one of the conditions of closing is that there's proper zoning for the property. Fairly standard for any deal, particularly if it has any amount of financing involved. No lender is going to give money to a property and then, say you're doing a large commercial development, you're giving millions of dollars, so you don't want to turn around in a month and find out that you're not actually allowed to use the property. So similarly, they want to make sure everything is set on the closing date so that they can properly finance as necessary.
Thank you. Does that further answer your question? Ma'am, we're done with that part. Thank you. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, I'll yield. Thank you.
Thank you. Alderperson Christensen.
Is it possible to approve a change conditional on the sale going through? Can we give it a conditional approval?
I don't know. Was Logan in the room?
I don't know if that's...
Logan, could you come in here? Because that's a really good question. My gut tells me yes.
I'm saying no.
But I don't know that.
That's a specific room. No.
Is he coming? Okay. Did you hear the question?
Just getting ready to leave.
I heard the question.
Okay.
No, it's about 55 degrees in the other room.
So much warmer in here.
Logan, are you saying there's more hot air in this room?
Yes, literally. So you can't. So by law, you can't do zoning by contract. Like the city can't enter a contract with someone where part of the terms of that is we will agree to rezone a property if X. Now, is this directly an example of that? Probably not quite. But also, I'm not so sure that it's a precedent that I would encourage you to set, where you make a zoning decision that is contingent upon some other event occurring, which is not guaranteed to occur at any particular time in the future. So now, what is the zoning classification that exists for that property subsequent to that action by this body, but prior to the other action necessary for the zoning change to occur? I don't know. It's like you've created a whole new character of zoning that doesn't exist in the zoning code. So,
I think it would stay R2 until a sale would go through and then go R4.
Sure. But what is the description of a property that is subject to that type of structure? What if their sale gets delayed? What if it gets delayed for a long time? What if it never occurs? Do we have to come back and remove that contingency? I don't think that it's, again, I don't think it's a precedent that I would encourage you to set. Do I have some hard and fast legal reason to say, no, you are prohibited from doing that? No, I do not off the top of my head at this instant. But, I think that doing something that is out of the ordinary like that in response to it being a situation that is politically controversial, how do you open the door in that situation to other examples where maybe it's not so politically controversial, but it would be preferred or convenient to some third party, and they're saying, well, you did in the past this thing for this, so we talked about on this previous item that you just considered with the standard in there for special dispensations, or however it was exactly phrased. This does start to feel like that. Now, granted, that standard doesn't apply to this item the same way it did to the future land use map amendment. But a conditional zoning approval is typically not a creature that you see.
Okay.
So unless you'd like to start inventing new types of laboratory zoning experiments here.
Sounds intriguing, but no, I'll pass.
Fair enough. Alderperson Guthrie.
If the sale goes through under let me rephrase that. So we've heard sort of conflicting conversation about the likelihood of a sale going through. And I'm a little anxious about adopting a new zoning for that land if it were to not go through. So could someone please talk me through, perhaps Jared, what the outcome would be and the status of the county operating that facility in a continual manner under the new R4?
Yeah, so I will just say, typically in the R2, if that nursing home wasn't already created, and up and running when all of this was gone through, it would probably not be typical that we would include a nursing home in any sort of R2 district, whether it be publicly or privately owned. So more appropriately, if you look at the other nursing homes or skilled care facilities that are around the city, they are in those higher districts. So based on that, and I guess just best practices in the past, staff would either way recommend it going to a higher district.
Okay.
Thank you.
That's helpful.
Are we good?
Mm-hmm.
We have a motion and a second. If you are in favor of the rezoning request, you will vote yes. If you are opposed, you will vote no, and the clerk will call that roll.
Morrow.
Aye.
Boozy.
Aye.
Lang.
Aye.
Shuda.
Aye.
Kneebone.
No.
Steinmetz.
Aye.
Burr.
Aye.
Broderick.
No.
Keemer.
Aye.
Guthrie.
No.
Christensen.
Aye.
8-3.
8-3.
8-3, that is adopted. Item number 18 is a resolution, a request from Portage County for a conditional use permit to operate a nursing home at the property located at 825 Whiting Avenue, consistent with Chapter 23.02, Sub 1, Sub F, Sub 3, Sub G.
I'll move approval.
Thank you. Is there a second?
I shall.
Seconded by Shuda. Discussion there. Okay, hearing none. If you're in favor, vote yes. If you are opposed, vote no. And the clerk will call that roll.
Christensen.
Aye.
Guthrie.
No.
Keemer.
Aye.
Broderick.
No.
Burr.
Aye.
Steinmetz.
Aye.
Kneebone.
No.
Shuda.
Aye.
Lang.
No.
Boozy.
Aye.
And Morrow.
Aye.
7-4.
7-4. That is approved. Our agenda is exhausted. I wish everyone a very happy holidays. See you next year. We are adjourned at 9:38.
A video of this meeting is available for viewing on the city's website, stevenspoint.com/videos.